everybody, this is Making Sank here, first name Making, and today I'm a bit proper excited because we are going to be talking to one of the sponsors of Adventures in Marketing, the fabulous Laura Whitehouse. So let's bring her up to the stage.
Hello.
How are you, my lovely?
I'm good. I feel the need to shout to match the energy. It's very, very good.
Well, I mean, it's a week 2 Adventures in Marketing. How excited are you for it?
Very excited. I'm mostly looking forward to meeting loads of amazing women and also men, but mostly women. Lots of fun marketing tips, and also get to be back in Edinburgh, which is great. I love Edinburgh.
Lovely. Now, let's tell the world who you are and what you do, my lovely.
So I'm Laura Whitehouse. I'm the owner of Mighty Fine Design. I do branding for small, medium and large businesses, create websites, color palettes, social templates, logos, all sorts of things, and also work in theatre, posters and film sometimes, which is why I've got an IMDb page, which everyone loves. So pretty much everything graphic design I will do.
I love that. And you, of course, as well as being the sponsor of Adventures in Marketing, are the fabulous agency behind the whole logo and branding of Adventures in Marketing. I mean, talk me through a little bit of the process of that. You know, when the fabulous Nikki and Abby come to you and say, we are going to run a conference and we need your help. Where do you start from there? Where do you go from there?
Well, we normally start with a chat and maybe going around the houses a little bit for what might work. And initially, because the conference started last year, it was kept things quite simple. What can we do? Let's get everything out. Let's see how popular this is. And obviously everyone jumped on it and it was an incredible day. So we've built on that year on year, and now we've got a bigger color palette and a bit shinier website. And we're also rolling out some more exciting bits for the actual day itself. So yeah, you'll have to keep your eyes peeled.
Fabulous. Now, as well as a sponsor, you attended the conference, of course, and you're back. What was most memorable for you in Adventures, and why did you come back?
So last year, I'd not been to a marketing conference before. I think I am obviously not a marketer. It's all very alien to me. And I love Nikki and I love Abby. And I thought, this is a bit of me, so I'll give it a go. And I'd neglected my social profiles. I was kind of scared of Instagram. Don't know why. I had just stopped doing anything. And I felt also a bit self-conscious about being too out there, or kind of putting my stamp on my own business, which is very strange to say. And what was so memorable was I came out of it thinking all of these incredible people are really shouting about what they do and putting themselves out there, and it's not embarrassing. I was worried that someone I knew in primary school would say, oh, how cringe that Laura's doing this. And meeting so many people that were really excited about what they were doing made a massive difference to my business, and also it's just really stuck with me. And I was telling you earlier, I saw your talk about creating FOMO, and I've really taken that on board, before, during, after, got to make people feel like they're missing out. So yeah, it was a great day.
I'll give you that 5 with the checks in the post for dropping my name into it.
Thank you.
Now, it's really interesting how you talked about, you're worried about, what your, school friends might say, because it is something that Teresa is actually going to be talking about. Now, she's one of the incredible speakers who's come back for Adventures in Marketing. She's going to be talking about self-sabotage, because we do have these negative thoughts that come into our head, and we convince ourselves, oh, well, that person won't like it, this person won't like it, so therefore we won't turn up and we won't show up at all. So I'm guessing that because you attended, you listened to some incredible speakers, you spoke to some incredible business owners like yourself at Adventures, that really gave you the impetus to up your marketing and not be afraid anymore. Is that right?
Absolutely. And it was so accessible too, that I felt like I came away with a real clear path of what to do, and the confidence to do it as well. So many ideas it wasn't, just your talk. It was little things from everyone, what everyone said. I filled a tiny notebook with ideas, and yeah, it really gave me a kick up the arse. It really did to get going.
And I think that's what's great about Adventures in Marketing, because there isn't this sort of divide between the speakers, sponsors, and the attendees. We're all in there, all having one big adventure together, and we all do learn from each other.
Yeah,
Like you say, it's the things that you think about are not, being in business can often feel like the loneliest place on the planet, but it
yeah,
isn't, especially when you're in a room with other business owners. And when you think, when you start talking to people and you have these thoughts and you share with them, and you sometimes you feel that, oh, they've experienced the same thing, then suddenly you don't
yeah,
feel alone anymore. So you mentioned that you've learned lots of little tidbits from some of the speakers from last year. Did you
yeah.
manage to get a chance to look at some of the speakers this year? Is there, I'm putting you on the spot here,
Oh God.
ask you to choose your favorite child.
I know.
Are there
Well,
any speakers that you're looking forward to hearing from at all?
I'm really looking forward to hearing Teresa again, because she was so good last year.
Yeah.
I think I need a refresh of that confidence, just another little boost. Yeah, and I think, as well as a talk, I think I want to know more about like SEO and the back end bits, and I think there's some of that going on as well, which would be great to hear about.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, it's about the people as well, meeting people on your table and just having a chin
Yeah.
wag with people. I mean, can you remember any particular conversations that struck out for you that you sort of implemented and you thought, oh yeah, actually that could be really, really useful in my business?
Absolutely. I think is it Nat Lou said saying no means you can say yes to something else, which I'm a big fan of. And we talked about that a lot on our table. And we kind of discussed the things we've said yes to and the things we were doing that we just thought, why are we doing this? This is, I don't get joy from this. I don't get any sense of satisfaction from this. And it's almost like you're your own worst boss sometimes when you run your own business, because you give yourself these jobs and then you think, why have I done that? I don't want to do that job. I want to do something else. This is, so I think it was great to hear about the silly things everyone else had taken on, and know that I'm not alone in piling up my plate sometimes with nonsense, absolute nonsense.
I love that because they are silly, aren't they?
Yeah. Why?
We
Are we doing it to
do
ourselves?
these things. We do. And for those of you who are listening or watching the replay, do go and listen to Teresa's interview that I did earlier this week, because she mentioned how we have these little talks with ourselves, and we just convince ourselves that is that is the truth. And so she's going to be revealing some step-by-step guides and how we can you know not necessarily get rid of the negative self-talk, because it will always pop up, but how to deal with it when it comes about. And you also talked about the fabulous Nat Lou, who spoke last year, and actually
Yeah.
one of her dear friends is actually speaking this year, and she's going to be talking about being truly authentic. That's the fabulous Karen Arthur there, and so yeah, because this year's theme is step by step, we are going to be receiving lots of step by step guides on the different subjects that we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to be talking about FOMO and how to put that into your next launch. We've got Teresa talking about self-sabotage, Karen talking about being your authentic self. Osman Sharif is going to be talking about productivity, because that's something that we could probably all do with a little bit to improve in our business lives as well. Now, Laura, you also mentioned that you actually used to live in Edinburgh as well.
Yeah.
It's a fabulous city, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. I think it's got such a great creative scene. If you're based there, you need to check out Creative Edinburgh if you don't already know about it. But they are partly responsible. Living in Edinburgh was responsible for me going freelance to start with. They gave me a mentor. He really pushed me to leave my job and go out on my own. Told me to up my rates because I was being very modest, very shy, and it was Edinburgh really just gave me the kick to do that. And they've got so many great events, and it's a lovely place to host a conference. I'm surprised. I mean, you was it your first time there last year, or have you been before?
I have been to Edinburgh before, but my first time at a conference there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a nice place. I remember just afterwards walking out the hotel thinking, right, let's get your act together. Let's go.
Yeah, it is really nice to have a conference that's outside of London,
Yeah,
and so and I'm sure that Nikki and Abby have some visions to be the place to go to, the conference to go to when it comes to Scotland, and
yeah.
I'm absolutely no doubt that they will absolutely achieve that. So Laura, as I mentioned, you are the sponsor of Adventures in Marketing, and we talked a little bit about your process, and how important is branding to a business? Would you say?
Very important. If you don't, I'm not saying you need the full works or the full shebang, but you need something to make you identifiable. Otherwise,
Oh,
how are people going to know who you are? I think you obviously, I would always advise small businesses. I know it's very tempting to take shortcuts, do it yourself, and you absolutely can. When when you're starting a business, you've got to be sensible. But all you need is a logo, a couple of colors to get going. It's worth talking to a professional, because then when you go forward, you're kind of step by step, you're creating a good foundation to build on. So rather than 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line, when you're perhaps doing a bit better, thinking, right, let's scrap all that, let's start again, you can just build on what you've already got, which is great. And that's what I really would like to see. And I'm sure Nikki and Abby the same with Adventures in Marketing. We've started off with good foundations, and as we grow, we'll add and add and add. And yeah, that's branding. I'm always going to say branding's important, though, aren't I? I think that's
well, you are, because you're in the business. But
I'll suck it off. Don't bother.
do yourself out of a job. Actually, it does remind me, in my first business, I went to one of those big companies that Vistaprint, and I thought
Yeah.
I'd find a logo, find a design, and I thought I would customize it, so I decided to go on to page 50 to find a font that would be really unique and find a different color that was unique and spoke to me about what I did, but I chose a basic design. And when I went to one of my first networking events, you sort of give business cards, and this lady handed her business card and I handed hers, and it was like the two girls in a party wearing the same dress, and we kind of looked at each other. So even though I'd spent so long in trying to find a unique font that was down on page 52 and a different color, I mean, it didn't matter. Basically our cards were the same.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed, she was embarrassed. We were both in different businesses, but it definitely taught me a lesson. So I actually ditched those business cards, and I thought, I'm going to have to invest in myself. I'm going to have to, spend a bit of time in finding the right colors that really spoke to me. And so I actually got someone to design something for me.
Yeah.
So
I think people forget that. I think graphic designers come in all shapes and sizes, and there are juniors, and I am always, my main thing about my business is I like working with nice people. So if people approach me and they seem nice, and I know they've got a smaller budget or they can't really afford to work with me, I have a whole heap of juniors that I love working with and I think are brilliant. And that's a mutually beneficial job. I'm not saying do it for free, don't work for free, but you can work with someone that's more in your budget, and you get something that you can still build on, and they get something for their portfolio. So I'm always keen to connect people. I think graphic designers, we're not scary, mean, big people. I like connecting people and making sure that everyone can get what they're after, really. Which, starting a business doesn't mean you want to spend thousands and thousands of pounds on a logo. You've got to be frugal, don't you?
No, absolutely. And now, Laura, it's been absolutely amazing talking to you. Thank you for the laughs, the little tidbits that you got from last year. It's going to be great to see you again this year. If you haven't got your ticket yet for Adventures in Marketing, then do go to adventuresinmarketing.uk. You can go and talk to Laura about branding. If you're thinking of a rebrand, talk to some of the incredible speakers and myself, incredible speakers and me. on Adventures in Marketing. Go and hang out with Nikki. Go and hang out with Abby, the fabulous ladies who have brought Adventures in Marketing to Scotland. And we will see you on the 8th of February.